let's do it. So my name is Philip Burkhart. I am an account executive with Customer Lobby, and I have been for almost 8 years now. Throughout that time, we've been partnered with CertainPath, and we've loved it. And so today, we're going to present how Customer Lobby works for the CertainPath members that are out there. Part of the reason why we're doing this is because we have found that people have a better grasp on what Pulse M does. Pulse M is essentially the same company as Customer Lobby. We are both under the EverCommerce umbrella, but they don't really have a good understanding of what Customer Lobby does. And for all intents and purposes, Customer Lobby is the other half to Pulse M. In fact, we often label Pulse M and Customer Lobby together as Pulse M Plus. So without further ado, let's get into it. Today, I'm going to discuss with you guys why Customer Lobby is a good fit, show you how it works, and if you like what you hear, we'll go ahead and talk about what the next steps would be. All right, I always like to begin with the mission statement, mostly because I think it sets the tone well for the rest of the conversation. But I also think it gives a good insight into what it is that we do. So we help service companies win more business by enhancing your customer's journey and creating value at every touch point along the way. AKA, we are holding your customers' hands throughout the course of their journey with your business. Diane, actually, so you're here with Kearns. You guys are using CertainPath software, is that right?
Yes, we use
Yeah.
Service Line. Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. How long have you been using CertainPath software for?
5 years.
Awesome. Very good. And I assume you probably are already reaching out to some of your existing customers in that database for the purpose of bringing them back for repeat visits, or kind of what does that look like for you?
Yep. We use it for all sorts of reasons. Currently we're looking back on our club members that may have left us, and we're going to circle back to those people and run a report and start contacting them. But Riley and I work together on different projects that pull, into that database.
Awesome. And Riley, I assume you're more of the, are you like the marketing mind over there? What's your role?
Diane and I definitely do the marketing together. I'm a dispatcher, data analyst type thing.
Awesome. Okay. So I've learned 2 things here. Number one, that you guys are doing reach out to past customers, in particular your service agreement customers, which generally speaking are people that you want to reach out to because they have a very high response rate. And then number 2, that we've got a data person on here, which is awesome. Let's take that and roll into the next step. So what you're going to see on your screen next here is a breakdown of the overall customer journey that we provide. Now, most of you are going to be very familiar with what's on the left-hand side. The contact card, which injects your company details into the customer's cell phone. The biography, which you can send when you're en route to a particular job. The pulse check, which is what you send off once you're done with the job, and that's where we actually collect that Google review. So for today's purposes, I'm not really going to focus on that side of the equation. What I'm going to focus more so on is the right-hand side of the equation. And so the right-hand side of the equation is what we label as back marketing. We've also called it repeat customer marketing or customer retention. Call it whatever you want. The idea there is that we are reaching out to past customers inside your database for the purpose of bringing them back for a repeat visit. Now, this side of the equation has lots of different means or ways of reaching out to the customers inside your database, right? We can send off thank you cards and holiday cards, and we can do the quintessential reach out to a club member or maintenance reminders and all that kind of good stuff. But what really separates us from everybody else that's out there is actually this circle right here, circle number 8. And that is what we call the branding campaign. So I'm going to click on that. And when I do click on that, it brings me to this page where you see the 4 stages of the branding campaign. I'm going to take you guys through each of these 4 stages one by one. feel free to pepper me with some questions along the way. This is, I would personally say, the most exciting thing that we do, mostly because it's very much automated and very much based on an algorithm that is industry specific. Okay, so let's do it. Step number one, analysis. We connect with your CRM or your field management system. We then analyze that entire database and come back to you guys with a report. That report is going to consist of some things which you guys are very familiar with, like your repeat customer rate, your revenue from your repeat customers, right? How much money are you generating from customers that have already had more than one visit with your business? How much money do you get for a customer or from a customer that comes in for one visit versus a customer that has several visits with your business? Some of these are going to be statistics that you already have a good idea of, and my hunch is that there are going to be some statistics in here which you guys don't have a lot of background on or maybe don't know. And so the point in bringing this information to you is that we are trying to identify if there's any meat on the bone inside your database. And what I mean by that is, let's say we took two companies and both of those companies had, I don't know, 10,000 customers in their databases. Well, company A maybe has 5,000 commercial customers in there, and company B maybe has 3,000 commercial customers in there. Now, company A has another 1,000 customers that are on service agreements, and company B has another 500 customers that are on service agreements. Well, the remaining customers are going to be completely different. And so when you look at these two companies, you're going to see that the ultimate number of customers that they should be reaching out to in that database is going to be completely different between company A and company B. And so that's what we're doing here in step number one. We're whittling down your database and trying to identify if there is any opportunity in there. Now, you guys are reaching out to service agreement customers. Maybe this is a question for Riley. Just kind of curious, other than service agreement customers, you guys reaching out to other customers inside that database?
Yes, we definitely have done like a cold calling type of campaign before, where I've just kind of reached out to past customers that we haven't touched on in a couple of years. So definitely lots of phone calling for those, but we took all of the information off of Survey.
Yeah, so that is actually, I'm really happy you brought that up, because that is conceptually exactly what we're doing. It's just that we're hopefully adding a little bit more data behind that process. What were you guys, and this might be a question for Diane actually, what were you guys using before you had Certain Path software?
Pen and paper.
Yeah. All right.
We've been in business 33 years. So, you know, our invoices were paper. Computer was used, of course, but it, you know, back in the day, it was, you know, a lot of paper. So to look back and find a customer from 3 years ago meant going to a box labeled, you know, 2015 and trying to find that month and that customer and getting their invoice out to take a look at it.
Yeah. What happened to all that all those papers? Did you guys still have them in a filing cabinet somewhere, or?
We do. I myself took it upon myself to enter 3 or 4 years worth of customers into
Wow.
Service Line until I couldn't see straight. And I didn't have my rock star Riley here at that time. That might be something I could pull out, Riley, for a rainy day.
There we go.
But
Sorry, Riley.
we tried to, yeah, we just tried to get as much as we could into Service Line. And now it's our hub. Like, there's no way we could function the company at the level we're at now without some sort of system like we have.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, so yeah, and a couple takeaways there from that. Number one, you guys obviously see the importance of having those past customers inside that database, you know, because you know that those are going to be customers of yours in the future. And so just momentarily here, you know, let's take a moment to just realize like how important those repeat customers are to your database, right? They are the lifeblood of your business. Right here in this example that I've got on your screen, it says that 68% of this company's revenue is coming from their existing customers. To put that into perspective, that is a good company. That is like probably around where you should be at. 70% and above, though, is what you want to strive to be at. And I get it. I get it. Every single company is different. You might have a company that's focusing, they're a plumbing company that focuses entirely on water heaters. You might have an HVAC company that focuses entirely on installs. And so obviously their revenue from repeat customers is going to be lower. But for a service company, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, as that company grows, if that number of revenue, that percentage right there is not in at least the 50 percentile or on into the 60 percentile, there is a problem there. And by the way, this is not always like when I show this data, the observation isn't always, oh, there's a problem, there's something going on here. Sometimes it's, hey, you guys are doing a great job. Our job is to make sure that we move that percentage right there in the center a little bit more to the right, getting that up into that 70 percentile or whatever the case may be. Next step, once we've run that report, we now have to go ahead and segment your database. This right here is the most important part of this entire conversation. So we take that data analysis from step number 1, and now we have to go ahead and segment your customers. And what I mean by that is we have to rank them. We rank your customers based on about 30 different variables. How much money did they spend? Are we talking about someone that, spent $179 with you, or are we talking about someone that spent $8,000 with your business? Is this someone that was a service agreement customer that canceled? Is this a customer that's the quintessential one and done? They had one visit with you and they have yet to come back for a repeat visit? Is this someone that maybe had several visits but hasn't come back in a while? Or is this a person who's in your active database within the past 3 years? Or are we talking about someone who's on that 6 or 7 year mark where you're going to probably start forgetting about them completely? We take these and about 23, 24 other variables, we combine them, and then we rank your customers. Now, we then take that top tier group and we automatically reach out to them with both a postcard and a follow-up email for a 1-2 punch. Okay, so usually at this point, I just transition into the next piece here, which is we send off the postcards, we send off emails to these people. But one idea I would very much like to highlight here is that there are lots of companies, lots of systems in this world that are meant for reaching out to past customers in a database. Lots of those systems focus on active customers. They have lots of cool variables to do that. What we're talking about here is using lots of variables automatically to reach out to customers inside of a database that people oftentimes don't want to reach out to because they think there's no opportunity there. Like a customer from 5 years ago, for example. Oh, that person, maybe they moved or, God forbid, they're dead. Whatever the case may be, that customer is less exciting to reach out to, right? Well, not at all. And that is where we clash with companies a lot. We'll say, hey, you absolutely 100% should be reaching out to that customer because that is someone that you have a history with, and you will bring that customer back at a higher response rate than, if you just do like an every door direct mailer or a radius mailer. By the way, those are great things to do, but I'm just saying that you're going to get a much higher response rate with the customers that exist inside your database. Okay. Let's now transition into step number 3, where we're going to reach out to those customers with both a postcard and a follow-up email. So before I jump into this particular piece, give me a little bit of feedback on what do you think about postcards? That's always a good question. I love to hear the answer to that. Riley's already smiling. Riley, since you're smiling, I'm gonna pick on you. What do you think about postcards?
I think that communicating with customers in any way that you possibly can is the best way to go about it. We've done postcards before here, and I'd love to track the responses on those a little bit more, but they were mainly new homeowners when we did them. But I think that, in this community that we're in the demographic that we're in, we have a lot of people, I would say like 70 plus, 72, 73 plus.
Sure.
And so they're not going to get those communications through email or text message or phone calls. So I think that, if you can use it, do it.
Okay, and I'll give you the $20 bill a little bit later. Riley. Diane, I saw that you went off of mute there as well. Do you have anything that you wanted to add to that, or?
I mean, and I agree with Riley. We've been doing the postcards to new homeowners at this point. But we have done postcards over many years. And I've got to tell you, Philip, it feels like a waste of money.
There we
We
go.
just don't even get one call or one hit or one
Yep.
trigger from it. So I have lost faith in the postcard world. I myself receive postcards and really don't give them another look.
Yep.
And it's probably because I have so much digital coming at me in different ways that I guess I don't personally even look at postcards anymore that come to my mailbox. So we've tried them. We are doing, like Riley said, with the new homeowners. Haven't had any hits on that as well. But we bought a stack of them. We're going to keep at it. So that's kind of where I'm looking at the longevity of what we've done over many years and what I'm seeing.
Yep. And that's the answer that I was looking for. Is the I don't like postcards answer, because I get it. I personally am someone who doesn't look at postcards. I throw them away almost immediately. So why the heck am I presenting this product? Well, the answer to that, I've got two answers to that. One of the answers I'm going to give to you in a little story here. I am now officially a product of the product, if you will. After working here for almost 8 years, I'd never received one of our postcards before, or if I did, I probably threw it away. However, this past winter here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is where I reside, we had a couple of bad snowstorms, and the second snowstorm knocked down a wire from the telephone pole to my house. And I gave the local energy company a call, We Energies. They came by and they said, hey, the wire from inside your house, from the breaker box, is now welded to the weatherhead, and there's nothing we can do about that. That is a you problem. Go get it figured out. So I called my electrician. I got a guy over here. And he was like, sorry, I've got 10 other houses that have this exact same problem. And so I said, okay, I'll figure it out. Well, at that very moment, I had to go drive to another one of my properties about 3 hours away in northeastern Wisconsin. And I hopped in my car and thought, well, heck, now I've got this house with no electricity. I've got a water heater in the basement that's about ready to explode. I've got to get this figured out because there's ice in there. Like something's got to happen here pretty darn quick. So as I'm driving, I'm thinking, all right, who am I going to call? Who am I going to call? And I had just taken my mail, thrown it into the passenger seat next to me, and I was fumbling through the mail, and there was a big postcard. That was the first thing that my hand touched. I grabbed it and I pulled it out, and trust me, I had a hunch. I was like, all right, I bet you this might be something that we sent out. But I was like, hey, this is who I'm calling. I gave them a shout, and sure enough, 3 hours later, they had my wire up, and I found out that that was a postcard that we sent on their behalf. Now, I generally don't like to use my own personal examples because I may not be representative of the customers that you guys are working with, or the people that are in your area. I may not be representative of at all. However, I do think this highlights the 6 to 12% of customers that we are going to bring back in the campaigns that we do for you. And that brings me to my second point. In the campaigns that we construct based on existing customers inside your database, we are able to maintain somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 12% response rates. And this, folks, is the big difference between reaching out to customers in a blast or a zip code blast or a radius mailer, and B, trying to reach out to customers in your own database using some of the variables that you have at your disposal that are not automatic, is that we are able to maintain somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 12% response rates. Now, the question you ask is, how are we actually tracking that? I'm going to get to that here in a second when I go into step number 4. But before I do that, let's take a look at what the postcards and emails look like, and then I'll get into some more of the actual response rates on the campaigns. Okay, so what you guys are looking at right now is an example of what the postcards and emails look like. We've got the name of the customer in there. We're obviously pulling that from the CRM. We are going to highlight how long it's been since that customer's last visit to personalize it. Down below, we are going to highlight the different services that you guys are offering. So, let's say you're an HVAC company that also does water heaters. We're going to make sure that your customers know that, or if you guys are a plumbing company and you're also doing geothermal or something like that, we'll put that in there as well. Down below, we are going to include the 2 most recent 5-star reviews that we've collected for you. Postcards are going to arrive on doorsteps, followed up with emails about a week to a week and a half after the fact. Postcards are 6 by 9 inch, glossy, hardstock, and double-sided. I assume you guys do a lot of customization when you guys send off your postcards right now. What do you guys do? Like pictures of the crew in front of the trucks, or what does that look like?
Yes, we have some professional pictures of our team. I personally like to see that on postcards because to me, it kind of grabs their attention. They know what our trucks look like in town. They might know one of our technicians from being at their house. I think it's super important to include a picture of your branding and your team. I have a small team, so I think that intimate pictures of them just might make them stop and look at the postcard versus, a card that doesn't have it.
Yep, agreed. And so to that point, we can include any customization that you guys have. We know, regionally speaking, what works. We know, generally speaking, dogs, babies, families, like that kind of stuff works better than, the guy with the wrench in his hand. But to that point, we also know that regionally things are different. And then beyond regional differences, we also know that the next level of customization is that we're actually using people from your company or the crew standing in front of the office, whatever the case may be. And so we'll include those in the campaigns. I mean, if you want that to be the entire campaign, we can do that as well. But generally speaking, what I recommend is that you include those, because then what's going to happen is, let's say we reach out to 500 customers in your database, right, for a particular month. Well, those 500 customers, they're not all going to receive the same thing. They're going to receive several different images, several different messages, because then what we're going to do is, as time goes on, we will identify which images and messages are performing the best. And then we're going to start to weigh those heavier in future campaigns in order to make sure that we're getting you guys the highest response rates. Okay. Any questions for me here at this point? I saw kind of like a furrowed brow there on Riley. And sorry, I just keep I keep picking on you, Riley, because I can see you. So, okay, cool. I see Diane went off mute.
Sorry, I don't have my camera on. We have dogs in our pictures and that really does help. We have 2
Yeah.
Labradors and they're part of all of our pictures and yeah, that's a huge push because people will call us and say, now you're the one with the dogs in the picture, right? So yes, dogs go a long way.
Yeah, you're gonna have to send a picture over here after this conversation, Diane. All right. Last step in the process is we got to track the results. So this is I feel like this is the moment that everyone's been waiting for, right? Like, how do we actually track the results on these campaigns? Phil, you've been talking about how these rates are better than a radius mailer, how they're better than a zip code mailer. Like, how do you actually track that? Well, when we have a robust connection with a system that's out there, that allows us to provide you guys with a dashboard that tracks the customers that we've reached out to and tracks which ones actually come back and make a purchase. And so what you're looking at here is the number of customers that we've reached out to in a particular campaign, and then the number that actually return and make a purchase. On the far right-hand side, you're going to see how much money those customers brought back to your business. And now if you pop open any individual campaign, you can see the individual customer names. You can see how long it's been since their last visit. And then over here, you can see how much money they actually spent with your business. The key here is taking a look at how long it's been since their last visit. Because we're going to bring back customers from 4 years ago inside your database. We're going to bring back customers from 5 years ago inside your database. And when you look at that, sure, you might say that that customer saw our van wrap, or that customer saw our billboard, yeah, or that customer, I talked with them in the grocery store. We get it. You know, we're not inside the customer's head. Some people will come back because of those reasons. However, when you just sent off a postcard and email to a customer that did a job with your business 1,832 days ago, and that customer just came back and made another purchase, yeah, that's where you're getting your bang for your buck with this platform. And that brings us back to the customer journey. So there's a lot of stuff here inside the customer journey that we did not talk about here today. There's the whole review side of the equation. We've got a lot of brand new stuff. We can also now respond to reviews. We can respond to reviews with AI. We can also now do social media posts to several social media locations, all kinds of good stuff. Folks, this is not on the horizon. This is here. Like this stuff, this extra stuff that I'm talking about that probably a lot of you certain path members haven't even seen yet. So at some point, we'd love to speak with you guys in even more detail about some of the new stuff that we have going on. Diane, Riley, you guys in particular, I think there's a new aspect of our platform that I'd love to speak with you guys about. And so for anyone who's watching, we've got this final piece here. There's a QR code where you guys can put a time on my calendar and I can show you what this is all about. Otherwise, feel free to email me, pburkhart@customerlobby.com. It's the same email I've had for the past 7 or 8 years, and I'd love to speak with you guys in more detail.
And Phil, when they do decide to reach out independently, like even Diane and Riley here, the next step would be a customized insights call, right? Where we actually look at their database versus this general overview that we're doing. So there definitely is value in sitting down with you one-on-one.
Yeah, thank you. And that's a good point. So right now you guys have a general grasp on like how this platform works, right? You know, we saw that we connect to your database, we analyze it, we then come back and segment your customers, we rank them, we do that automatically, we then automatically send them off postcards and emails, and then we bring them back for a repeat visit, and then we track which customers do in fact return. However, that first step is not possible unless we've actually connected with your system. That's how we come back to you guys with that initial report, where you guys can then see where there's actually opportunity inside your database. And that's free for certain path members, that initial analysis.
Thank you, Phil.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you, Diane and Riley, for joining us. We're so excited to be able to share this recording out. So if you are out there listening and you were not part of this original call, we would love to chat with you. But otherwise, we hope everyone has a wonderful day. And thank you for joining or taking the time to listen.
Thanks, guys.